Alright, 7.4, we are going to look at factoring more polynomials and using our MAM method again. So I'm going to start by labeling MAM and creating my box. We got my M and my A. So if I multiply 4 times 25, that gives me 100. And my add is going to be a negative 20. So let's make my list of possibles off to the side. Two numbers that multiply to give me 100 would be, well, first of all, if I have a positive 100 and I want to add to get a negative number, that means that I'm going to multiply together two negative numbers. So that would be negative 1 times negative 100. Well, those add to give me a negative 101. Let's try negative 2 times negative 50. Negative 2 times negative 50 gives me, plus negative 50 gives me negative 52. So it's not that one, it's not our first one. Let's see, 3 does not go in evenly, 4 does. We'd have negative 4 times negative 25. Negative 4 plus negative 25 gives me negative 29. Not what I'm looking for. Negative 5 times negative 20 gives me negative 25. Nope. Let's see, 6. Nope, 7 does not go in. 8. 9 does not. 10 does. If we had negative 10 times negative 10, that would give us 100, and negative 10 plus negative 10 gives me negative 20. So those are the two I'm looking for, negative 10 and negative 10. Next, I'm going to write my fraction. So I've got that 4a squared. I've got a 4 on each, and then I split my variable. And on the bottom, I take my two numbers, which are both negative 10. That simplifies to 2a over 5, negative 5, for both of them. So that means my final answer is going to be 2a minus 5 times 2a minus 5. Alright, we've got 1 times positive 14 gives me 14. And my add box is going to be a negative 9. If I'm going to add to get a negative but multiply to get a positive, that means both of them are going to be negative. So that means I would have, let's see, negative 1 times negative 14. If I add those together, I get negative 15. Not that one. Negative 2 times negative 7. Negative 2 plus negative 7 gives me negative 9. So those are the ones I'm looking for, negative 2 and negative 7. Okay, my fractions, I've got 1x squared as my first term here. So that means that each one's going to have a 1 and each one's going to have an x. We split our variable. We've got negative 2 and negative 7. Can't simplify those fractions, so we're going to leave them as they are. That means we have 1x minus 2, and we've got 1x minus 7. Alright, number 3. I've got 1 times negative 39 is just negative 39. And my add box is going to be negative 10. Okay, if we want to multiply to get a negative, that means 1's going to be negative. And if I want to add to get a negative, that means my bigger number is going to be the negative 1. So if I have 1 times a negative 39, that gives me negative 38. Okay, see, 2 does not go in, 3 does. We would have 3 times negative 13. 3 plus negative 13 gives me negative 10. So that's my answer. My combination, my 3 and negative 13. Now I can write my fractions. So let's look at my 1m squared. Each fraction has a 1, and I split my variable. Then I've got 3 on my first one, negative 13 on my second one. Okay, neither of these can be simplified, so I'm ready to write my fractions. My binomials, sorry. I've already got my fractions, so I've got 1m plus 3 and 1m minus 13. Okay, last one over here, number 4. I'm going to multiply 6 and negative 3, which gives me negative 18. I want to add to give me a positive 7. Okay, my possibles here. I've got a negative for my multiplying and a positive for my adding. So that means one number is going to be negative, and if my adding is positive here, that means that my bigger number is going to be positive. So let's try 1 times negative 1 times 18. Negative 1 plus 18 gives me 17. So that's not what I'm looking for. Let's try negative 2 times 9. Negative 2 plus 9 gives me 7. So those are my two numbers. Next, I'm going to write my fractions. So I've got a 6 on both. Take that constant, it goes on both my fractions, and I split my variable, n on each. Then I take my two numbers, I have negative 2 on the first, and I've got 9 on the second. This first one, 6 divided by negative 2, that gives me 3m over negative 1. And 6 divided by 9, that simplifies to 2 over 3. I'm sorry, this should be n, not m. Okay, now I'm ready to write my binomials. So my first one is going to be 3n plus 1. My second one is going to be 2n plus 3.